way before the dude abode. King Kong, 1976, starring Jeff Bridges, Jessica Lange, Charles Grodin, and directed by John Guillermin. The 1976 version of King Kong is the first stab of a remake of the 1933 classic film, and it is the one that I personally associate with the most. This is the version I remember watching on television on HBO or Encore growing up as a kid. This was a film I never actually owned, but if it was on television, I would inevitably stop and watch at least part of the film. There is just something about the story of a mysterious island with a giant ape living on it that captures the imagination. This version, without a doubt, is a lesser regarded of the films about King Kong, but it is still one which can be an enjoyable watch. The biggest criticism for this version of King Kong is the pacing of the movie. It takes 30 minutes for the film to actually get to the island, and the audience doesn't actually get to see Kong until almost an hour into the film. This is way too long for the reveal of the monster. The long setup isn't needed for the characters that we are introduced to. The crew of the ship investigating the island should have arrived there sooner, allowing more time to be spent with Kong. Once Kong is revealed and the relationship with Lange's character Don is established, the film picks up and is a good watch. The performances are all over the place. Jessica Lange's Don is a bit of a stereotypical ditzy blonde actress. She needs saving from both Kong and Jeff Bridges' character, Jack, throughout the course of the film. While at first terrified of Kong, in the end Don does establish a connection with him. If we were going to psychoanalyze this connection, it could be attributed to Stockholm Syndrome. But that gets murky in trying to understand how smart Kong is and what he understands about right or wrong. Regardless, Don does develop feelings for Kong, which creates a weird love triangle in the film between her, Jack, and the ape. I don't think she had a sexual attraction to the ape, but he sure did. On the other end of the triangle is Jack, who is the most well-rounded character in the movie, and Bridges' performance is the best in the film. The chemistry between him and Lange is questionable, but Bridges is without a doubt the hero in the film, and the one who holds the screen the best while he's on it. Bridges' performance, along with the special effects of Kong, make the movie rewatchable, even if the effects are now dated. One performance that is one note and cliche is Charles Grodin as the company oil man who is only out for himself. The only way he could have been even more villainous is if he twirled his mustache during the movie. His character at first only cares about getting oil from the island, and then when that doesn't pan out, he wants to capitalize on capturing Kong and bringing him back to the modern world. I'm not sure if there is a message about corporate greed and its destructive nature, but it sure seems this way watching now. Knowing about the oil shortage in the 70s and how it affected the country, I'm going to guess the director was shooting for this. Grodin's villain was too on the nose, but it still doesn't take away completely from the movie. I might be viewing this version of King Kong with nostalgic eyes, but I still enjoyed watching it again. There are obvious flaws, but while the special practical effects are dated, they are still well done. The best endorsement for the film is that it gets you to feel for King Kong. You don't want him to be killed at the end of the film. No matter how many times you see it, you still don't want the inevitable result. It is almost universal for audiences to root for Kong, even though he is the scary monster in the film. All versions of King Kong do a good job of making the giant ape sympathetic in some way. True, the weird creepy leers he has in this version are strange, but in the end, you feel bad for him being taken away from his environment. If you grew up in the 80s, this version of King Kong is what you probably have seen the most. If you did watch this one when you were a kid, it's worth revisiting. The movie, without a doubt, has its issues, but it's still enjoyable. If you have never seen it, get past the first long act until Kong is revealed. It might be the lesser version of the films made about King Kong, but it's not a complete disaster. Let me know in the comments below what you think of this version of King Kong if you've seen it, or if you would give it a chance if you haven't. It's currently streaming on Amazon Prime and has previously been on Netflix, so I'm sure it's not going to be too hard to seek out and find. Add it to your queue and enjoy some good old practical monster effects. Like, share, subscribe, and all that fun stuff. Thanks for watching.